So good to see you all here, and Hag Purim Sameach. Happy Purim to everybody. I'm Philip, for those who have not met me. I'm the head of Sunday school here, and as is tradition each year, we do a Purim spiel, a Purim play, as done by the children. Thank you, Elliot. I could trust on you for that. We're so blessed to have a really sizable Sunday school here. All praise to the Lord. We're going to have, I think, at least 11 people on stage here and several more in the Sunday school afterwards. So it is such a blessing. Now, I know these guys have been working really hard on this year's Purim play. As you can see, we've got props in front of us, behind, and of course, they've been rehearsing their lines. So I'm going to blend into the background. This year, the children have chosen to dress me up again as a tree.
Our story begins in approximately 480 BC in the Persian city of Susa. The king who ruled over the vast Persian city was King Xerxes. The king was married to a very beautiful queen by the name of Queen Vashti. In the third year of his reign, King Xerxes hosted a big party for himself and his closest friends. The men were having such a great time that on the last day of the party, the king commanded Queen Vashti come out to dance for him and all his friends. But Queen Vashti disobeyed and fiercely replied,
"No, I will not dance for you."
Remove her as queen. The disgracious queen of Persia.
So the search began for a new queen. There were many young, attractive girls who were anxious to take the position and did all they could to impress the king. Nevertheless, a beautiful Jewish girl impressed Xerxes the most by simply being herself and ultimately won his heart. Her name was Esther. However, Esther had a secret. She had been warned not to tell anyone that she was Jewish, to ensure her safety in the palace. Thus, King Xerxes made Esther his queen, and they hosted a big meal to celebrate their marriage.
Long live the new queen of Persia.
Meanwhile, an evil man in the king's court, who hid his wickedness from Xerxes, was promoted to one of the highest-ranking officials in the land. This man was an Agagite by the name of Haman.
I can't hear you!
Due to the king's promotion, everyone in Susa was ordered to bow down in honor whenever Haman passed by. Everyone willingly complied. Everyone except one man. This individual refused to bow to any man. He was a very brave Jew who bowed to God and God alone. He also happened to be Esther's older cousin and guardian, since Esther's parents had died when she was very young. He was always there to give her help and advice. His name was Mordecai. Whenever Haman would pass through the streets and see everyone except Mordecai bowing down, he would become furious. When Haman learned this man was a Jew, he hated him all the more. He became so enraged that he not only wanted to destroy Mordecai, but all Jews in Persia's empire as well. However, he needed the king's approval for such an extreme act. So Haman went to Xerxes and said, "There is a certain group of people throughout the kingdom who are different to us. They have different laws and different customs, and they do not obey you. Therefore, it is in your best interest to have them all destroyed." Haman was crafty and didn't tell the king who these people were. Thus, the king agreed to issue a decree to have them destroyed on the 13th day of Adar, gave his signet ring, and said, "Do with these people as you please." When all the Jewish people heard about this command, they were greatly distressed and wept bitterly. Mordecai wrote to Queen Esther to tell her the horrible news and see if she could persuade her husband, the king, to change this wicked decree.
This message is from Mordecai.
King Xerxes still did not know that his new queen was secretly a Jew. Esther sent a reply to Mordecai.
This message is from Esther.
She reminded him that according to the law of the Persians, no one could approach the king unless invited by him. The punishment for approaching his throne without being called was death, unless the king showed favor and mercy and held out his golden scepter when approached. Esther revealed her deepest fear to her cousin.
I am afraid to see the king.
Just as he had done all Esther's life, Mordecai had to encourage her to act bravely. So he sent a message back to Esther.
This message is from Mordecai.
His letter boldly read, "Do not think you will escape the distraction just because you live in the king's palace. If you do nothing, then rescue for the Jews will come from somewhere else, but you will surely perish."
But perhaps you came to the kingdom for such a time as this.
After receiving the message, Esther replied to him. She instructed her cousin, "Tell all the Jews in Susa to fast for 3 days on my behalf. After the 3 days, I will approach the king, even though it is against the law."
If I die, I die.
After the 3-day fast, Esther did as she promised and risked her life by approaching the king uninvited, while he was holding court in his throne. When the king saw it was Esther, he was not angry, and instead held out his golden scepter. To show her thanks and relief.
What is your request, my queen?
Please come to a feast and bring Haman.
The king and Haman agreed to this arrangement. Meanwhile, Haman was becoming more enraged by Mordecai's continued. And kept complaining to his wife, Zeresh. He grumbled to his wife,
am a high-ranking official, but I will not stop until that evil Mordecai is dead! Is that all you got, Clacton? Oh, dear! Oh, I'm going to throw you all and hang you all! I'm the ruler.
So Zeresh advised him,
Why don't we build a huge gallows to hang Mordecai on?
Perfect idea! Oh, we should have thought of that sooner.
Wicked Haman liked this plan very much and had a gallows built 75 feet high. The evening of Esther's feast arrived, and her 2 honored guests joined her. The king asked Esther again,
What is your request, my queen?
Esther responded, Someone has made a decree against my people to have us killed and destroyed. My request is you spare me and my people. The king questioned,
Who is the man who dared to do this?
Esther pointed and declared,
That's wicked Haman!
The king was absolutely furious and Haman was terrified. Someone pointed out to the king that Haman had built a large gallows beside his house, intended for hanging Mordecai the Jew. The king exclaimed,
Hang him on the gallows!
Oh, no, you can't. No. What? Oh, no.
So they led Haman away to be hung on his own gallows because of his trickery and attempts to kill the Jewish people. The king then gave Haman's position of honor to Mordecai, as well as his signet ring and clothed him in royal robes. However, the order by Haman to destroy all the Jews had already been sent out throughout the empire. Esther pleaded with Xerxes to have it revoked, but according to the Persian law, any decree made and sealed with the king's ring could not be reversed. So instead, a new decree was written by Mordecai that the Jews may gather to defend themselves and destroy any armed men who tried to attack them. The Jewish people were relieved when they learned of it, because they knew that they could now fight back and God will deliver them. When the day of the Jewish annihilation arrived, God miraculously turned the tables and every Persian enemy was either destroyed or became a Jew themselves. When they realized that they could not win, as a result of this victory, there was a great celebration amongst the Jewish people. In obedience to the God they served, Mordecai and Esther named and established an annual celebration of the 14th day of Adar throughout the kingdom. And every family and their future generations were commanded to commemorate the day when God miraculously turned their sorrow into joy and their mourning into victory. The annual celebration was called the Feast of Purim. The end.
Thank you to all the actors. We're going to congratulate them one by one. Let's hear it for the narrator, who was Elizabeth. Let's hear it for George, who was Mordecai. Let's hear it for Joel, who was the king. Let's have Vashti up next. Come on, Vashti was played by Isabella, and Vashti's maid was Nita. Let's have Zeresh up next. Zeresh was played by Macy. And Lydia was Zeresh's maid. We also want to bring up the stage director. Oh, actually, there's Frank. I didn't see Frank. Come up. Frank was our messenger. Wasn't he good? And we're going to bring up the stagehands now. The Purim director, Elijah, ably assisted by Billy, organising everyone in place. Ishan down here was Gallow Man. Take a stand. Come on. Now, in front of me here, the beautiful Esther was played by Isabel. And Esther's maid here was Ella. And last, but purposefully last, was Haman. And Haman was played by Ryan. Everyone, take a bow. Take a bow. Thank you.